Marlins today closing out their 3-game series to Miami. We go. Detroit made the most of some Marlin miscues. Second inning, Colt Keith rips a hard shot to Eric Wagaman right here. Couldn't handle it. Spencer Torkelson on base, hustled to third. Maximo Acosta tried to get him over there, but that wasn't close. Torkelson would score on the error. Colt Keith wound up on third. Next batter, Dylan Dingler. He brought Keith home on a single back up the middle, 2-0 Detroit. Now, Gator Montero started this one for the Tigers, and he was dialed in. Fourth inning, picks up 2 of his 5 strikeouts, made that 2-0 lead hold up thanks to 5 shutout innings, allowing just 3 hits, and the bullpen did their part as well. Same score in the ninth. Did get a little dicey for Will Vest, winning run at the plate, but he struck out Javier Sanoa right there. Looking to end it, got it done. Detroit gets the final game of the series 2-0. Manager A.J. Hinch impressed with what he got out of Montero.
Passed from Montero. I think his stuff maintained throughout his outing. I think that's the good sign. But going in, you know, we could go 3, we could go 4. We knew we had about 5 innings just based on how his last 10 days to 2 weeks have gone. So it was good that he set the tone with zeros that continued despite a little bit of stress at the end.
I was happy we were able to put pressure on him there in the second inning. I pushed a couple runs across, and then not that we were coasting, but you know, play with a little bit of comfort there. But overall, you know, we're happy going back to Detroit. Hopefully we can build on this one.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of weekends in South Florida.
No.
People have had more enjoyable weekends down there. But you get the win today, and to see that from Montero, look, it goes back to what we keep asking is where's the consistency in the pitching? And when you get an outing like that, it does give you hope that they have different outlets that they can go to. And A.J. Hinch always seems to press the right buttons when it comes to that.
Yeah, and to see it from Jose Urquidy, who obviously was signed way back in the offseason.
That's a new button to push.
With the intention of sort of unveiling him at this point in the year. And maybe he's a piece that could spark this staff come October. We'll see. But look, this team has and Sewald and Finnegan is back this week, so the bullpen is getting some reinforcements. The Tigers have a chance this week to clinch their first division crown since 2014. It's hard to overstate what an impressive season this has been for this team. Obviously, last year was really just a 2-month surge, but wire to wire, this team has played as consistently and solidly as any other team in baseball this season.
Look, it hasn't been really good since the All-Star game, whatever, but as long as they get it together for the playoffs, you know, and we have to figure out who the second starter is going to be. Sure. It looks like Scooble's, thank God, healthy. He's supposed to pitch
Talk about hearts out of the throat.
No, that was
the entire city of sigh of relief.
I know.
That was not just the entire city, Birchie. That was all of baseball.
Yeah, truly.
I mean, I was at an event that night and kind of caught up with it on X when it was done. Yeah. And that was every national writer like, oh my gosh, this is huge. This is a, you know, landscape changing moment. And thankfully, it appears it was not.
And every director at Fox and at ESPN and anyone else broadcasting postseason baseball, because he is must-watch TV every time he takes the mound.
Yeah, it absolutely was a big one. There's no doubt about that. Guardians in for 3 starting on Tuesday. Dylan Dingler mentioned getting back to Detroit. Magic number is 6. They've got a chance to put a dent in that thing. And look, it's Stoney, you said it. It hasn't been overpowering since the All-Star break, but they do tend to figure it out. And I think that is really the personality of this team, is they figure it out.
And as we've seen all season long, it's baseball. They've had more highs than they've had lows. At times they are frustrating as hell to watch. There's no doubt about it. But as long as they can just hang in there, who knows? Anything can happen. And I think they can hopefully get one of the top 2 seeds, though. You know, we saw the Lions didn't need to buy. It hurt them last year. I think the Tigers, to set up the pitching, it's a little different than in football. If you can avoid that, you know, series at the beginning and start the ALDS with Scooble going 1-5.
You got to feel pretty good.
You got a chance.
One name we talked about a lot during last year's run and a lot this spring before he got hurt was Parker Meadows.
Yes.
And I know it's been a stop and start season for him, but his latest start looks encouraging since coming off the IL earlier this month, hitting .340, doubled again today, a few homers during that stretch. It still feels like there is time for him to leave his imprint on this season and maybe even in October. Feels like maybe he's the unforeseen X factor for this team down the stretch and into the playoffs.
We know what he can do on defense. If he can find some consistency at the plate, he is such a weapon on the base paths that he can be a difference maker. And the other guy that I would bring up is Kerry Carpenter, who has found it. Hit his 25th this weekend, and he's an issue for other teams. He is the guy that, to me, makes this team different when he is dialed in.
And it's so weird, and I understand why he does it. When games that he doesn't start because the lefty's going, you're saving him for a pinch hitting role, and it's worked. It's just so strange.
Yeah, but his mere presence in the lineup dictates the way the opposing manager attacks this lineup and the way he goes to his bullpen. Even when Carpenter makes out, simply by forcing the manager's hand, he has an outsized impact on the game. So him staying healthy is really important too into October.
All right, you guys sit tight. Don't forget, every weeknight at 7, it's the Sports Office. 30 minutes to discuss the latest in sports on the Fox Local app. Download it, and once you do, we invite you to join the show via Zoom. Let's hear your take. Join us tomorrow night at 7. Hammer will be in the captain's chair. Meanwhile, another week of college football in the books. Right back with a look when this edition of The Works continues.